Hello and welcome everybody to the study hall. My name is Student. I am your host today. We were labbing on stream over on Student FGC at twitch.tv or YouTube where you're watching right now currently. You can also find us on Tuvo. That's enough shelling for now, and Facebook as well. Now, after that shelling out the way, as I was saying, we were doing a little bit of labbing on stream, and I was trying to look into anti-reflect because I think this is something that's very important to the game. As we come right back over to fighters over here, reflect is a mystery for sure. It's the mechanic, it's the invincible reversal, or our game's push block. Our game's take on push block, right? So if you play a game like Guilty Gear, recently they just got the macro for push block, right? There's a big difference between Guilty Gear and in fighters. For Guilty Gear, you need to be committing to block in order to push block. For fighters, you need to be not committing to block. You're committing to the push away, the frame one push away button, which means you're not blocking at all in order to achieve our push block. Push block isn't even the right way to describe it, but it's the closest thing that we have, so bear with me. Let's talk about the theory of anti-reflect, right? So if you're upset with people always pushing you away, and you're always getting out of range, that's a little bit of one right there. So I think this is a great layer one. Pressing light into medium, because what this does is a few things. Number one, it pushes you way far away. So if they decide to like super dash or something crazy, let's say you're using the key blast minigame for most of your block strings and such, right? If you decide to do this and they reflect away and they try super dashing, you're at the perfect range for super dash to be reactable, because at that point, at this range from here, as you see, super dash is 29 frames. 6M is 24 frames, and that's like the bare minimum of genuine reaction speed that's like human obtainable. You have a big larger of a window to look for the super dash, look for the raw tag, whatever you think there is they're going to do. Obviously your opponent can play on this though. Now we have a situation where Cell is going to do reflect, call an assist. If you were to do this instead, in that scenario we were talking about, now he can run up and get pressure. We're blocking something at that point. So our turn is over, and we're in the worst case scenario. Our opponent is creating pressure on us now. So how do we prevent this? How do we keep our turn, but at the same time, pressure reflect in a way that's not going to give up our turn completely? And this is where the Key Blast minigame comes into play. This is something that's been around, but immediately, what is the difference that you notice? It's the spacing. We are so much closer to our opponent. We're still a threat at this area, which is the important thing right here. Did I delete all of them? Oh no. Well, that's okay. The show must go on. So the whole point of being at this range instead of this range is that we're still a threat, right? At this range, we still are in a range where our mediums can hit. We're still in a range where our key blast can hit. So now we're at a different phase of pressure, right? We're still at a range where super dash is 24 frames. Super dash is 24 frames, which means it's reactable. It's borderline reactable. Borderline unreactable around this range, which means we can still do stuff like this in order to get our super dash 50-50 at this range if we think they're going to respect us. It's all about being a threat, which is obviously a lot better from super dashing all the way back here, because just how we were describing, if our opponent decided to do something like that and he reflected us all the way back here, we could 2H them. He can also 2H us if we try going for a super dash to get back in from too far away. So how are we keeping the spacing? Well, I've been doing it for a while now. It's this key blast. This key blast is very important for keeping our spacing. And key blast does a couple of things. Because it's key blast, your opponent is allowed to super dash it, which inherently creates RPS around this scenario right here. RPS that's in your favor since you're the one throwing the key blast. 21's key blast is -4, by the way, which also means she's able to, I don't think she's able to jump away, but from certain spacings, lights won't reach her, and she'll be able to backdash and immediately go for like a whiff punish with something like a further normal, maybe like her 2 or her 3M. And 21 is a very special case here because she can continuously do the key blast minigame from further and further away. It's harping back to button key blasts, and then because we have button key blasts, if your opponent tries to do something, you always have your heavy as well. After your heavy, you have to look at your character to see what you have available to continue the pressure. Some characters are more privileged. They have yet another key blast that they can do after the first key blast is expended to create yet another RPS situation. Not everybody has this, but one thing that everyone does have are special moves. So let's start to explore that. So we're at this point, right? Our moves are essentially expended. Our block string is essentially over. But we're at this point here where we can do stuff like special moves. As we were saying before, we have the ball here, which is just a standard frame trap. 21 has a medium ball that you can super dash cancel. So not only could this whip punish and reflect if they were inclined to try to choose that option, it could also give us the opportunity to start to create more RPS situations inside of this little scenario right here. So the point that I'm trying to get across is your turn isn't over, but you're still covering yourself from the best defensive option in the game, reflect. The whole ordeal, we're going to set Cell to reflect block, and then we're going to set him to multi-reflect block. And let's try to do some block strings. Standard block strings. You see how your turn is essentially over. No normals are going to be able to reach, but if we were to do Ki Blast, we're still technically in a string. And as you're seeing, even though Cell's matching reflect here, we're still able to gel him with the heavy at the end because our Ki Blast is not pushing us away. When you reflect the Ki Blast, since it's not your actual normal that's being pushed back, instead it's the Ki Blast, you don't go anywhere. Ki Blasts are immune to push block, which means we can still connect our heavy since we shot a Ki Blast, and we can still go into like our special moves and such to create more RPS. This is something that's not just unique to 21. Still have Broly. Now Broly doesn't have the 2S like 21 does. He doesn't have any down special moves, so after he shoots this, there's nothing else that he can shoot. But Broly instead has Eraser Blow, has Command Grab. There are still different things that Broly is able to do after this heavy right here. And unlike 21, he can hold his heavy. To make it look similar to the Command Grab. And now we get our set play, all from a situation of beating Reflect as a layer 1. And finally, I'll show off my boy Piccolo, because Piccolo, his Ki Blast is a bit unique. You can't super dash his Ki Blast. And he can even put you in a situation where post-reflect, you can put them into a command grab situation, similar to Broly. You can even put them into a cross-up situation. Explore with your characters, you guys. You don't know what you might be able to get and what situations you might be able to create while also beating the best defensive option in the game. So if you guys like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to all that good stuff. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about this first quick take on anti-reflect. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you so much, and remember to never stop learning. Thank you.
We're never done learning. It's never over.